All right, what's good, people? Welcome to another edition of Politrip here on the Got What You Need Network. Hope everybody's doing well under the circumstances. I guess I have to add that have a lot going on. Um, we want to talk about the president proven to be very, very cowardly, and a move he recently made in Turkey, and we'll talk about that. Also, want to talk about a young lady by the name of Arianna Hamilton. She works at a Burger King in the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, and she encountered a Zionist who decided to play victim and get the young lady fired. So we'll discuss that a little bit. Um, then I also want to talk about Wilkinson Sejor. He's the owner of the Miami restaurant chain Chef Creole. He's Haitian. Um, and he's dealing with a bunch of stuff. And he's also a three-time Trump voter. So you kind of reap what you sow. And then I guess this first story I'll talk about, um, the National Association of Black Journalists had their convention recently, and they gave longtime member Stephen A. Smith, yep, that same Stephen A. Smith, the Thumbs Down Award. Now, there were other people and entities that were included, so he wasn't just singled out, but it was very surprising that the rebuke was so public by this organization. Now, you think that Stephen A would say, "Oh, okay, I need to see what's going on and what's the disconnect with my people that has them feeling a type of way." But instead, he immediately got on to Twitter or X, if that's what you want to call it, and issued a threat. Basically, um, you know, talking about this is Christmas in August and wait till he, responds and he talk about, who really deserves the thumbs down award and so on and so forth. Then he proceeded to go on to Fox News and Newsmax. And I'm going to talk about these separately because as bad as the Newsmax is, it's not Fox News. And as bad as Chris Cuomo has become, he's no Sean Hannity. Um, Sean Hannity, and I'm quoting this loosely, I don't see the need for a black journalist organization anyway. And Stephen A didn't say nothing, didn't correct him, didn't say, hey, I'm currently upset with this group, but I disagree with you there. I think the group is still very much needed in the current climate. But no, all he wanted to do was talk about himself and how he was so hurt and disappointed. And what bothered me was that like why didn't you go to Roland Martin? Um, I know you enjoy Reed, you had y'all words or whatever. So I don't know, maybe not her. Reese Colbert, like she's on I believe she's on Sirius, and I believe you're on Sirius, so I think that could have been hooked up, but you had to go running to the white man to talk about how the black people are treating you. And you're so isolated in this echo chamber of people who maybe push back a little bit, but they aren't going to push back that much against you if they think it's going to upset you to the point that maybe they get cut out of those first take TV, appearances during the week. Look at when Monica McNutt pushed back on him, excuse me, when he was trying to overstate his support for the WNBA. And and Monica had to like check him, like, yeah, that wasn't until Caitlin's Hart. There were plenty of great players before then, and you offered no showcasing. And then suddenly she comes into the league, and now you suddenly realize there's a women basketball league called the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like he was visibly upset about that, and expressed um that like live on TV. So to expect like anyone to like really like tell him like the truth, like because that's what he needs. And to go to Hannity, who just loves the opportunity to talk about the bad black people, and how they're mistreating his friend Stephen A. Smith, like somebody in your corner should have been like, yo, you could be mad at them all you want, but that's not a good look. Like Chris Cuomo even was like, oh, some of the stuff that they're accusing you of, you did say, or whatever. Like, I'll give him credit, like at least there was some type of like pushback to be like, hey, so like you really don't think you said some of this stuff? Like, we got the tapes or whatever. And this is the thing. Stephen A., like anyone else, has the right to his opinion in regards to whatever he wants it to be. What a lot of us are talking about is a lack of consistency. So let me get this straight. Jasmine Crockett pushing back in an aggressive way towards Donald Trump bothers him so much that he wants to be the tone police in regards to her. The tone police in regards to former Vice President Harris, right? But then when Donald Trump comes out and straight calls you low IQ, stupid and all that kind of stuff, oh, that doesn't bother me any. Didn't do your research on, and then you want to be in politics, right? But then you don't even do your research. You just get told what you should think by your handlers. So then you have Byron Donald, excuse me, Congressman Byron Donald. I'll give that man that respect or whatever. Of Florida, who's now running for the governor of Florida, and you had the nerve to say he's going to make you mess around and become a Republican. You talking about the same Byron Donalds that caught two felony type drug charges? You talking about the same Byron Donalds with a fraud charge and had all these charges? Um, I guess he wasn't exonerated, but expunged. Had these charges expunged from his record, and that's the reason that he goes so hard for the right. Or you talk about the same Byron Donalds, right? That you say will make you become a Republican, but the current Republican governor of Florida won't even campaign with him. 18% of Florida Republicans have already come out and say that they're going to vote for David Jolly, a Democrat. That Byron Donalds, You see what I'm saying? Like even when he be trying to to pander, he don't even have the information, all the information he needs that doesn't make him look like a coon and make him look stupid. Just Byron Donald said that Jim Crow wasn't even that bad. Like the Jim Crow era wasn't even that bad. And that it's Democrats and liberals who are exaggerating it. Like, do you understand how sad that is coming from a black man? And this the one you all grinning up in his face and talking about switching parties? Go ahead and switch. Like you've been a Republican. Like don't tell me you voted for Harris. The way you talked about her, like you don't even understand. Like dogging her caused more people not to vote for her than your little one vote, even if you did and you not lying, voted for her. Like I don't understand people like you, Killer Mike, voting for Jill Stein and shit. Hey, come on, man. Then he want to sit there and put some glasses on and try to sound all educated and shit like that. Man, we can have all the black banks and stuff we want. We can't have that and have a president that's literally, basically saying this open season on us, basically controlling the FBI, to stick the FBI on any black organization that he wants, erasing black war heroes from warships and military bases all over the world. And you using a technicality, some small issue to be like, I just couldn't get myself to vote for her because of this or because of that. And then those that were like, I couldn't vote for Kamala because she didn't come out strong enough for her support of Palestine, right? But then you vote for someone who basically said during the same debate, I believe Israel should finish the job. And that's what they doing. And I'm gonna move on before I get too caught up in the Palestine thing, but I'm gonna say this, and I'll say it with my whole chest. There's a large, loud faction of American Palestinians who do the cause no justice and no good. They are cowardly and they are pretentious. I recently saw a man yell at Mayor Mondani like like this was his fault. I have yet to see one sustained Palestinian protest in DC. The president is scheduled a Grand Prix race around the National Mall, I believe. You think any Free Gaza faction gonna show up? Nope, nope, because they scared. They know he pulling out um, tear gas, bomb, water hose, all that, and y'all scared. But then if Kamala have a book signing or whatever, then you want to then you want to show up and scream and pass out and shit. Get the fuck out of here, yo! Like I ain't never seen an organization in which like I'm on their side. Like genocide isn't cool. Like it's tragic. It's horrific, and more needs to be done. Like ICC, International Criminal Court warrants were cool until they sent a warrant out for Netanyahu. Now they got to get their money out of any banks that can be sanctioned by the United States because they'll freeze their assets for doing nothing else than holding somebody accountable for being in charge of a genocide. So yeah, I don't want to get too caught up because this isn't about Gaza or Palestine, but it always needs to be mentioned that the world as a whole need to be doing more, but that American Palestinians need to stop being so fake. Like we know you don't really mess with black people like that, but to make that Trump you really protesting against those that really want you wiped off the face of the map is crazy to me. And every time I see them trying to go in on Harris, I'm under every one of their posts calling them a coward, calling them scared, calling them punk, because that's what you are. You nothing like them black kids in 2020. They took it to DC and took it to Trump's face. Had that man dropping bombs, holding up the Bible upside down and all types of stuff. Y'all ain't about that life. Y'all ain't about that smoke. You know what I'm saying? You got to see who watching or whatever. And it's got to always be, attack on a black entity or whatever, or a black person or whatever. Ah, man, miss me with that nonsense. All right, let's move on. So recently, our president was in Turkey, right? And he, well, he was in Turkey along with other world leaders, and he executed what they're calling a secret plane swap, leaving the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. And it's reported and been confirmed that he used an airport catering truck to covertly transfer from Air Force One to a military C-32A jet. The elaborate security ruse was orchestrated by Secret Service due to a credible, and I'm going to put that in quotes because the CIA said that, they had low faith um, in this or whatever. So, oh man, cameras filmed Trump publicly boarding the older baby blue Air Force One in Ankara. Out of sight from reporters on the opposite side, a catering truck moved him off the aircraft to a similar Air Force C-32A jet. Now, this is where it get crazy because, who am I to say what's credible and what's not or whatever, not being there and not being privy to all of the national security info or whatever, right? But this was messed up. Even if you just saying like we have to take the threat seriously because what if something was to happen and we brush it off? I get that, but then you leave journalists, staffers, and some members of military on the old plane, and unlike in them not knowing that there has been a quote unquote credible threat to that plane. So, like, let's say if it was true and they thought that he was still on the plane because they made them keep the shades down so that people would think that he was still on the plane or whatever. So now the fallout from that is that several staffers have turned in their resignations, and one of the most glaring ones is Caroline Levitt, who immediately upon finding out that she was left on the like she knew she wasn't on the same plane as him, but when she found out it was a decoy plane, she like, nah, you left me with them to be blown up, and you chose the Natalie Hart girl over me because she wasn't supposed to be on the president's plane either, but she made such a spectacle that that they had no choice but to move her onto the catering truck and onto the other plane along with the president or whatever. Like, besides like it being like cowardly, the fact that you put so many people in possible harm's way, it's unbelievable to me. Like, and the fact that more people aren't upset about that and calling out this cowardly act is just beyond me. And he's so scared of these so-called threats that he's recently been seen golfing with a missile defense system right within feet of him. Name one president ever that's done that. To me, if you gotta be guarded with a missile defense system, you don't need to be golfing. You don't need to be golfing anyway with what's going on in the country or what have you, man. I mean, it's so much stuff. We literally had a report that wild horses were being slaughtered, and then months later we're hearing that we're going to be getting foreign beef ground, you know, foreign ground beef, but he won't tell us where it's from. And anybody that knows anything knows that in many countries, horse meat is used in place of beef. So you could do with that information as you will. And shout out to those farmers that's crying and stuff like that. You don't get to vote three times for racism and then whine when the the leopard comes back and bites your face off. You know what I'm saying? Like he did you dirty before, and you thought like this time was gonna be different. What up? All right. So Arianna Hamilton works at a Burger King in the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. Anybody knows it's a college area. A lot of tourists go through that area. Um, it's near the Poconos and all of that type of stuff. Well, because it's that kind of area, she says a lot of times she'll be like, "Hey, where you from? Or where are you from? Just trying to keep it cordial or what have you." And this gentleman said, "New Jersey." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Then he turned around and then he pulled out his Star of David and said, "I'm from Israel." And she was like, "Okay, free Palestine." And for some reason, all of a sudden, he suddenly breaks into victim mode. Oh my God, she discriminated against me by saying free Palestine. I don't understand this thing to where some Jewish people, because I can't say them all, are going out looking to pick fights and then cry victim. And because of him making a tape and saying what she did and didn't talk about how aggressive he came at her with, "I'm from Israel. What are you gonna do about it or whatever?" And why is it a crime to be against kids being slaughtered and blown up, hospitals being raided with IDF soldiers dressed like doctors, doctors from Australia describing having to deliver a baby from a mother whose head was blown off. And somehow having sympathy for people that I just described is a crime. It can get you fired from your job, can get your bank account frozen, can get you doxxed in all types of other different ways where if you got sponsors or, or advertisers, um, there's a mass calling to get them to drop you and things like that or whatever. Like this thing is beyond me. And what's even worse, one of the worst examples of what I'm describing is the New York college kids, especially at like Columbia. I saw they were having a sanctioned and peaceful protest protesting against illegal land sales in Israel, to which they are basically selling land that the terrorists go and steal from the Palestinians in Gaza and on the West Bank. Having a peaceful protest about that, y'all. And then you saw these Jewish students like going up to the president of the college, like, make them stop. Oh my God. And crying. Like this thing to where y'all see, is it called a hashipa, the scarf, or a watermelon or a Palestinian flag, and you get to fall out and act like you about to die is so corny. Oh my God, man. Like, I'm so glad that more versed individuals are showing up to these places. Um, these colleges and where they're having these events to where someone like will stand up and get to crying and but when you talk about the Jewish like that you don't realize how much it hurts us and you don't say Hamas Hamas well, get the fuck out of here, man. Just stop. Just stop. I'm gonna give you this fact. I'm just gonna move on. All right. Fact. Hours before the October 7th attacks, um, the IOF and IDF were ordered to move back away from that checkpoint while a music festival was going on right on the other side. Fact. We know that Benjamin Netanyahu was funneling billions of dollars through Qatar to Hamas so that they would still be able to provide resistance and he could justify keeping the war going. Once again, these are facts. And the fact that this has been testified in court and can't be disputed, and then to have people still play the Hamas game with me is just like, nah, I won't play it with you. So, like, what about Hamas? Guess what's gonna get from me? What about it? Like, dead ass. What about Hamas? What about it? Like, I haven't seen Hamas make a tape torturing, Israeli or somebody from Jewish descent, and I don't know how long. But guess what I do see? Tapes of Israeli soldiers, IOF, IDF soldiers raping women, raping men, raping kids. I saw where they were prosecuting some of those accused of rape, innocent until proven guilty. I get it, I get it. But then you have people going to the courthouse and trying to break them out, those that were accused. Just think about that. I understand that you got a hatred for people, but you got a hatred so bad for people that it's okay to rape them. It's okay to train dogs to rape them. Once again, verified, verified. They spray this chemical onto a naked um, captive and allows the dog to literally have their way with them, and they're handcuffed and chained. That's verified. That ain't no urban legend. That ain't no myth. That's verified. Like these people are horrible, horrible human beings. But shout out to Ariana because the good people that understand that we need to be on the right side of history has donated up almost $300,000. And she said that part of that she's gonna send to support the cause. But she's gonna use some of that to make sure that she's whole since she lost her job for being a good person. All right. So and let me start this where I don't do the diaspora wars, diaspora wars, excuse me. I don't do the diaspora wars. You know, you black to me until you say I know black, I'm Kenyan, I know black, I'm from Ghana, I know black, yo, right? But until you do that, we together. So let me just keep it real. I don't care about your accent or whatever. When I see black, I see another African. I don't play the FBA tether game. I don't do none of that. And yes, I know that there are people from Africa and the Caribbean that talk down about African Americans. And yes, I know if it wasn't for the work of us and our ancestors, they wouldn't have a place to go to. Yes, I know all of that. There's a Jamaican place right here in town that I won't go to just because of how I was treated. And I'm not even saying that that was an American, African American thing or whatever. They just weren't nice. And then the food was good, but it wasn't like great, and I'm not even gonna say it's bad. Like it was good. But I've had better Jamaican food. So you understand what I'm saying? Like you got the kind of attitude, like your food better be like that. And real quick, let me just tell you what happened. So you go in this place, it's a big ass sign that says fried chicken wings. I'm like, all right, from Jamaica spot? Yeah. Go in. I'm like, yo, I'm a chicken wing. We don't have chicken. We don't have fried chicken. Just and I'm like, yo, take the sign down there. Like real rap. So she mumbled something or whatever, but she wouldn't say it loud because she knew I was right. And then I was like, fuck, she gonna mumble and be like, so I started mumbling. People gonna have big ass signs that say something that they get mad at you because you want what's on the big ass sign. Like, like, whoa, like, well, we haven't had chicken. This is my first time in here. You ain't never seen me before. So you think you'd be like, hello, first time here, blah, 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 blah. But instead, I'm getting all this type of attitude or whatever. Um, and then somebody from the back came and kind of cleaned it up or whatever. And that's the only reason I didn't leave. Went ahead and ordered a few things and got up out of there. And I bring this up to say that like it's a Mexican spot right across the street that we probably go to once a week, once every 2 weeks. They got Taco Tuesday, Dollar Taco, and they be fat. But the dynamic that I'm talking about is here I feel more welcome in that spot than I do in a spot owned by people of African descent. So I'm using all that to set up this, all right? Because I don't have no issues with these people. What's the man name? Wilkinson, and I fucked this up at the beginning too. Wilkinson Sejor. He's the owner of a Miami-based restaurant chain called Chef Creole. It's um, a Haitian style restaurant, let's say. So, even before TPS, he was having a hard time keeping all his locations open. A lot of his senior leadership have either been arrested and deported or arrested and detained, and he's been forced to shut down multiple locations because of this dynamic. And now with the TPS being rescinded or whatever, it's becoming even worse because now any Haitian that wasn't born here is fair game, to being given an ankle monitor and then being scheduled to be deported. And what's so bad about it is that they'll never get to deporting how many people that are here under the TPS designation, as they can only take 160 at a time, and they can't fly into Port-au-Prince because it's so dangerous there. So they have to fly into a smaller, airport, and then they give them like $65 and some water, and basically saying, "Hey, man, get to it, do you." So, like, this is all, messed up or whatever, but when you have people in power who want to say things like Americans are lazy and all this kind of stuff, and that's just nonsense for him justifying hiring most of his people. So when someone says, "Oh, you're discriminating against, those that aren't of a Haitian background," he has the fallback of, "I try, but they lazy," or whatever, but won't speak of the people, the Haitian people that might fall under being lazy as well. It is not 100% of no race, no people in which everybody is hard work. It just get magnified when it's committed by people that you already have a negative opinion about anyway. But my thing is, what do you do now? Everybody was on this. Well, the people that weren't that were trying not to appear racist was basically like, "I just want people to come here legally and all that bullshit or whatever." But then it's like, where are all the MAGA, um, you know, immigration absolutists? Like, why aren't they out in the fields picking produce in 110-degree weather? Why aren't they at these warehouses in Nebraska that were recently shut down because the man lost almost his entire force when he lied and said that um, they went through E-Verify when I know they didn't. Now, I'm not saying they didn't have ID, but he basically gave them the nod, nod, wink. Just get me a ID card, a valid ID card, and a valid Social Security card or whatever, and we good. And basically didn't run any of them, or ran very few through E-Verify. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that social is not good, it's not going to verify when you use E-Verify. So, and I don't want to get too caught up in that. But I'm just talking about examples of groups of people losing their jobs, and there's not a group of MAGA ready to replace them. Like, even in some of the Latino restaurants, especially in California, where all these cooks and waitresses and dishwashers or whatever lined up to take these jobs or whatever. But then Cinco de Mayo, you all lined up getting your margaritas and shit. So long story short, I don't have any compassion, or sympathy for Mr. Shador. He's getting what he asked for. He's getting what he deserved, and I don't care if he has to close every location. You decided to be discriminatory to people that look just like you, and thought that that was gonna increase your possibility of having a closer proximity to racist white folks, and you finding out the hard way, and you're probably going to lose everything. And once again, it's exactly what you deserve. Like to vote for him 3 times, and then want to get on the news and talk about lazy Americans and things like that. When you're set to lose everything because of your choice, is just cornball behavior. And once again, I'm glad that you're losing everything, Mr. Shador. Goodbye. And goodbye from me, man. Make sure that you support the entire network. That means the Black Male Podcast. That means Life and Love. And this is Politrick with you guys. Sky, man. Thank y'all for the support. Those downloads this month, man, very impressive and very surprising. And I'm so humbled by the support, man. I can't thank y'all enough. See y'all next time. Peace.